Everyone, and welcome to another live match reaction show on Football Tour Podcast. My name's Ozzy, and I'm your host for this evening. Another lackluster performance from Liverpool once again as we drew 2-2 against Fulham earlier today. So, what we'll do a quick match review, do some player ratings, and also give you guys a platform to call into the show and have your say. So, if you'd like to call in, feel free to hit that link, and I'll try and get you on the show later after the player ratings. So let's get into the match review and let's talk about the key moments of the game. In terms of the way Liverpool played, we didn't play that badly. In terms of the opening 10 minutes, I wouldn't go far as saying we didn't play that badly for the whole first half because, quite frankly, it was a bit of a ball fest. And Curtis Jones was the first one to create something for the Reds where he threaded a fantastic through ball from his own half to set up Cody Gakpo, who was playing up top today. He was through on goal, hits the left foot shot, poor execution, drags it wide. For me, he should have done a lot better. But unfortunately, it was Fulham that took the lead, and it was a former Red that opened the scoreline. That was Harry Wilson. He opens the scoreline with a fantastic left foot strike into the bottom corner. Great flick from Raul Jimenez with the assist. Florian Wirtz produces a low cross to Curtis Jones, who tries to do it back heel, which was blocked by Cassani. So that was one of our opportunities there. Got a corner kick, and from that corner kick, the ball's cleared, but Szoboszlai picked it up from the right hand side, hit across, found Gakpo, who applies a looping header towards the goal. Unfortunately, hits the crossbar. So unlucky from that moment for Cody Gakpo. In the second half, I was expecting Arne Slot to go bold and make a couple of substitutions. That never occurred, which I probably should have half expected, to be honest with you. But in terms of the way we played, Liverpool actually hit the back of the net very early in the second half. Kirkes produced a first time cross to his best mate Gakpo, and Gakpo produces an instinctive finish. But unfortunately, he was miles offside. He thought he was playing playground football because he had no awareness of staying onside in that moment. McAllister was very close to equalising for Liverpool as he produced a header from a Szoboszlai corner, smashed it onto the crossbar, and that was the second time we've hit the woodwork. But eventually, Liverpool did get the equaliser, and it was Florian Wirtz who finds the back of the net with a left-footed strike. After a VAR review, Liverpool were awarded as there was some uncertainty if that goal was going to stand. And luckily for my client, he is able to add another goal to his tally. Fulham almost took the lead as Harry Wilson finds the loose ball from a counter attack, hits the shot towards goal. Luckily, Allison carries the ball away and it ends up hitting the crossbar. So a lucky moment there for the Reds. But in the end, Liverpool thought they got the match winner as Cody Gakpo made it 2-1 in the 94th minute. Great cross from Frimpong from the right hand side to find Gakpo in the near post, and the rest was piece of cake there. Where literally the ball was on a plate for him, and he just had to tap it in from a couple of yards out. But moments later, the unthinkable happened. Harrison Reed, who just came off the bench, hits a rocket out of nowhere and smashes the ball into the top bins. Simply unstoppable. Nothing Allison could do about that shot, unfortunately. At the same time, looking back at the replays, scoreboard defending from the Reds, as there was not a single player near Harrison Reed, and all of the players were just clustered inside the defensive box. So, in that regards, he was given a free hit on goal, and he took advantage of that. So, to summarize my thoughts of the game, that was another poor performance, and we failed to take maximum points. That's 2 points dropped yet again in recent games. First half, as I mentioned earlier on, was absolutely boring, and that's been the tail of our season. As a collective, we're playing gear two, and we can't accelerate for whatever the reason. Second half, we improved slightly, and we had after trailing 1-0, Verts equalizes to make it 1-1, and for me, he was the only shining light in this Liverpool team. That goal happened around 57th minute. In my opinion, that was the time to go on a full attack. Hit the next gear, dominate the game and add more goals to the tally. But unfortunately, we did it for about a minute and then went completely flat as usual. But this is why you pay the managers and the coaches the big bucks to make those decisive decisions in high pressure situations. This season, Slot has taken zero risk. He's very cautious in his setup and also with substitutions. That's why he makes late substitutions that appear to be ineffective. And unfortunately, that was the case today as well. Liverpool took the lead in the 94th minute through a Gakpo finish. For me, that was the time to go defensive and take a leaf out of the team's books that we've faced this season and play with a low block. I know it's not fancy, it's not the way Liverpool should play, but you have to manage the games correctly. Now, that finish from Harrison Reed was out of this world, simply unstoppable. But if we had a bit more of a defensive structure, maybe that could have been avoided. So overall, I'm very disappointed with this result. And people think I have an agenda with Arne Slot because I'm always speaking in a negative sense that I don't want him at the club. I don't have an agenda. I just don't believe in the coach anymore. And I believe his days are numbered. And it has to be. That's my opinion. Whether FSG agree or they decide to part ways with the coach, that's another thing. But this coach, for me, is so cautious with his tactics and his game management. You would think we're fighting for relegation. So we're not representing ourselves as current champions. We're a shadow ourselves from last season. And I believe this is unacceptable. And if you have full faith in the coach, that's on you. Because quite frankly, I believe he's out of his depth, and I think he's been found out. He's simply not good enough, and he needs to go. Simple as that. So that's my take on the game today, and that's my take on the coach as well. So before we do play ratings, I'm going to go through the comments, and we'll take it from there. So let's start with the first comment. Here we go. Bo, big up Bo. He said, "Big up Ozzy. How are your health? Another awful result and performance." Yeah, I totally agree. In terms of my health, I'm all good. I have this cough that comes and goes, but yeah, all good. Thank you. I hope you're well as well. Um, Thoughts on Mac and Gakpo getting 90 minutes while Chiesa got 5 and Rio nothing. Mac didn't get the full 90, did he? Oh, he did, didn't he? Well, yeah, surprising. I think McAllister actually had a better game in comparison to recent weeks. Not stellar performance. I'll say that for the record, but he was much better today. In regards to Gakpo, I feel like he just looked out of his depth in that striker role today, and I feel like we needed someone a bit more clinical. And there was plenty of opportunities for Stott to play Chiesa um, to replace Gakpo directly. And in terms of the other players you mentioned, Rio and Gamoa, he should have been brought on a long time ago. I said it during the watch along. I would have bought him at halftime. Maybe that would have been a bit of a bold move, but it was a game where we weren't creating anything. We weren't really stretching the opponents. And that is the type of player you need. Someone that can take on the fullback, attack the byline, and stretch the opponents in terms of creating space in the more central areas. That way you've got your striker and your midfielders in better spaces that will hopefully lead to goals in the end. But no, unfortunately, Chiesa played about 10 minutes in total. Not not fair on the player at all because he deserves a bit more respect. I believe he's one of our most talented wingers in the team, and especially with our lack of attacking options, no Isak, no Ekitike. I forgot to mention he didn't start today. He wasn't even on the bench, so we're lacking numbers in the attacking department. And when you've got an experienced player like Chiesa, you should be utilizing him a lot more. So, yeah, disappointed with the management of the players that you mentioned, but I'm not too surprised as well at the same time. Bowles comment is, I feel like the players have lost full faith in Slottersy. Your thoughts? I I feel like they, they lost faith in November when we were losing back-to-back games. And you mentioned that yesterday, McAllister had said some comments as well. Said some comments as well about the team in terms of we did too much in the summer and something along those lines. The players aren't happy. You can tell in terms of their body language, the way they're playing, but they're professionals. They just have to do the job. and unfortunately, that's just how it is. I do believe that he lost the dressing room a long time ago, and the players are just going through the motion. And because we're getting results to an extent, because I don't think we have improved as a collective. I don't think we have improved our level of play. I don't think we have been head and shoulders above anyone else around the top four position. And quite frankly, I think we've been very lucky with some of our results in the last 8 games. Slot will tell you that we're undefeated in the last 8 games. Got to put context into it. Look at the games. There were games where we were 2-0 up and we've ended up drawing those games. So drop points yet again due to poor man management or due to poor substitutions, however you want to phrase it. So I don't know. I think the players just have to go with the motion and just take it a game at a time or a day at a time. Uh, Personally, they probably don't like the coach in terms of the way the team is playing stylistically, and there might be a personal issue with certain players as well. But unfortunately, there's nothing much they can do as he is the coach, and they have to take his orders, I guess. Also, do you see us? Do you see us getting a big win over Arsenal? Honestly, no. I don't see us getting a result, not even a draw. I think that would be a game where we may get humbled, unfortunately, and that's not something I want to say proudly because, of course, this is my team that we're talking about here. But we have to speak facts. We have to voice our opinions based on reality. And right now, we are not good enough to compete against a team like Arsenal, who haven't been playing the best of footballs in recent weeks, but they have been getting the results and they know how to get the job done at this stage. So yeah, not looking forward to that game if I'm being honest. And Bo's comment is people actually chose to back Slot over Salah. Yeah, that's their choice in that regards. Bo's comment is Ozzy, do you know if the owners can make the decision to sack Slot alone, or does Edwards and Hughes have to agree with it? Hmm. I've Edwards and Hughes do not have the authority to sack Arne Slot. What they will do in their respective jobs is that they would speak to the hierarchy, and if they feel like the time has come to an end to part ways with Onslaught, that would be their communication, and the final stamp of approval will be from the owners. But also, if the owners are looking at the current situation and they feel like he's not good enough, they have the right, because of course they're owners, to inform Edwards and Hughes that this is not good enough and we want to dismiss Arne Slot. So that's how it works. Edwards and Hughes don't have the power to do that, but they have to present a case to the owners in terms of why they want to part ways with the coach. So that's why I've said to you for quite some time, I want Arne Slot gone. I really do. But I think Edwards and Hughes will probably hold out to have him until the end of the season and then look for his successor after that. That's the way I'm predicting how things will fall. Whether they will or not remains to be seen. Bo's other comment is I watched back your goal reaction, Ozzy, and I feel the same as you. A 2-1 goal in 90th minute should be screaming time. Now we don't feel anything even that moment. Do you agree? Yeah. I'm not saying that I envisioned us to drop points or the other team to get the equalizer. It's just I don't know. It's not the same feeling anymore in terms of watching Liverpool because I'm not excited about watching Liverpool. We're not playing a great brand of football. So if we do score, it's a slight surprise, and then you applaud your team as always. But I'm not off on the edge of my seat. I'm not enjoying it in that manner. So yeah, I do agree with you. It's not that same feeling like it was under your club, and I don't want to be reminiscent of those times because, of course, those were some amazing times as Liverpool fans. But that is the reality. That is the comparison we're going to do because that is what the previous uh, manager was like, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Ozan, big up Ozan. He says, I will be absolutely shocked if we manage to gain a draw at the Emirates. I would be as well, to be quite honest with you. Well said, do you see how even Fulham had a good possession-based style, whilst we don't even have a style anymore, thanks to Slot? It's very true. Marco Silva has always had that philosophy, whichever club he's been at, Fulham, Everton, wherever he's been, he's always had this philosophy of this way of playing the game the right way. His teams always play good level of football, good brand of football. It's neat and tidy, and even if he doesn't have the highest of caliber of players in the squad, they always seem to play a certain way. So we don't have an identity, unfortunately. We don't have that in our locker anymore. We are we play like a relegation team, and that sounds very disrespectful, but I'm just going to say it how it is because we're not playing with any confidence. We're riding our luck and just getting by. We're nicking wins or we're nicking draws here and there, and the manager wants us to be excited or happy about the way we win games, the way we're winning scrappy games. That's not good enough for Liverpool Football Club. I want to see my team dominate teams, thrash them 4-5-0. You know, and that's not me being a sport fan. That's what we've seen over the years. So this is not me just wishing for something. It's something we've witnessed for a long time. So we're not playing like current champions. That's my concern here. We're playing like we're a newly promoted team. So this is not how Liverpool should be playing going forward. And I genuinely believe that we need to go into a new direction sooner rather than later. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. Well, says to be honest, we didn't deserve the win today at all. No, that's a valid point. I think Fulham probably deserved the point, if I'm being honest. Uh, if we had got that winner with the Gakpo goal, I would definitely have come on and said we were lucky to win today. But fair play to Fulham. I think they didn't create a lot of chances, but the difference was that they were clinical whenever they were presented with a chance. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Ozan says, fantastic 2026 so far in Aussie. Yeah, great start to our campaign, isn't it? Mm. Um, Big man found love. Okay, interesting. Username Big Up Yourself. He says, honestly, were you ever feeling comfortable even after we took the lead? No, not really. Like I didn't expect like if you're talking about the Gakpo goal, I wasn't expecting them to equalize. I thought, we nicked it. We got lucky there. But when we got the equalizer through the Verts goal, I was expecting us to hit the next gear and try and really go at the other team. That's what previous teams in the Liverpool shirt are renowned for. We go and we try and extend the lead by 2, 3, 4 goals. That's how football should be played. We kind of just did that for about a minute and then took a seat back. And that's the approach I really, really hate. Like we're proud of being equal, or we're proud of just having a 1-0 or 2-0 lead, and that's it. It's not good enough. You have to keep going. You have to maximize the scoreline as much as possible. We don't do that. That's not a sign of a true attacking team. That's a sign of a team that is just happy to be there, and that is not what Liverpool should be presenting themselves on the pitch. It seems Slot will get sacked. The new press conference post video has more dislikes than likes. I haven't even seen the post press conference. I'm definitely going to check that out after the show tonight. What were your thoughts on Cody? I expected better from him, to be fair. It's not a unfamiliar role. When he first joined Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, he played as a striker or as a false nine, however you want to brand it. So he's fully aware of what's expected in that role. I feel like his decision making, especially that first shot he had in the first half, weird shot that he took, left footed, but he could easily have, you know, put it onto his right foot and then shot on goal with a stronger chance of scoring. Um, and then he attacked the left channel quite a bit, and it didn't really help because then that side of the pitch got a bit congested. So average performance today. I expected a bit more, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to rely on him because we don't have a lot of strikers available. So he needs to step up, in my opinion. Bolster's stock doesn't deserve the money he's getting. No, he doesn't. When we talk about players earning the big bucks, there's a reason why managers earn the big bucks as well because they make those crucial decisions in crucial times and they get the results. And that's how they raise their profiles, just like players do. So if this manager or this coach doesn't want to be brave with substitution or doesn't want to go all in and try and get the win, you're at the wrong club. That's not what Liverpool's about. Liverpool's about us winning games, going on full attack, demolishing teams left, right, and center. That's what Liverpool's about. Unfortunately, he doesn't align with our brand of football or the way Liverpool have carried themselves over the years. Both says we literally had the full team in the goal for that 2-2 goal. Yeah, I saw the replay. I should have taken a screenshot, present it to you guys, but you're right. That's exactly how it was. Diabolical defending that was. Ayo Sion, because so it's a Liverpool are trash. I don't know if you're a Liverpool fan or not, but yeah, I can't disagree too much to be fair with you. Um, Big Man Fan Love says we definitely miss Egatike today, don't you think? Yeah, we did. We definitely missed his presence and his know-how of how to play that role because what kind of goes under the radar is that Ekitike is very good in terms of the link-up play between midfield and attack. So he likes to drop deep, but he's very effective and attacks channels really well. And one thing I really like about Ekitike is the way he holds the ball up and lays it off to other players. Like he's definitely got that awareness on the pitch. Cody Gakpo, I don't mean to be disrespectful. He is a talented player, but he's very much one-dimensional. He's a good player to have come off the bench where you need a goal, and then you expect him to do what he does: drive down the left-hand side, cut in and shoot, trying to help you get a goal. He plays like that whether he comes off the bench or he starts the game. So he's very predictable, very one dimension. And even up top today, I don't feel like he made his presence known to the Fulham defenders. So he needs to improve on that because it's not an unfamiliar role for him. He has played there for Liverpool. He's played there for the Netherlands. He's played there. Actually, I don't know if he's played there for his previous club in PSV, but I have seen him play there for the Netherlands and for Liverpool. So it's something he should be fully aware of what is expected in that striker role. Whilst these January games will be the end of, excuse me, will be the end of slot, I believe. Do you think 9 losses out of 9 will get him sacked? If it doesn't, then I don't know what will. If I'm being brutally honest with you, of course we haven't lost, today, and we didn't lose the previous game. The draws feel like defeats, um, but who knows? It's very, very hard to predict. As fans, we'll have our opinions in terms of, oh, this is the game, that is the game. I thought the game after Forest was the one where he gets sacked, but he's still here. And fans that are slot in will say to you that, well, look, last 8 games we haven't lost. We're undefeated in the last 8 games, so we've made progress. And unfortunately, on paper, yes, the points are there to represent that, and we're fourth in the league, so that aids his case, I guess. But I just don't always go by my information based on stats. I watch football. For me, it's an eye test thing. I need to see my team playing good football, and it's all going to well getting these sneaky results here and there. I just don't feel like we've been good enough. And this is not the brand of football that I want to see my team play going forward. And that's why I believe he's not the man to take us forward as well. So, in terms of his position, we don't know. The club aren't really going to reveal their cards in terms of if his position is under fire or not. We'll just have to wait and see. If we lose to Arsenal, maybe that will do it for them because then they're thinking, oh, we're definitely out of the title race because mathematically we're still within reach, which I don't believe. We are completely out of the race. We have been out of the race for about a couple of months now. So I don't agree with that. But there was a few whispers from certain fans thinking we may have a chance to challenge. No, we don't. Not the way we play. We're so inconsistent. It's unbelievable. I'm Rich Big Up It's a big up 2006 and we're still shit. Yeah. Same old story with us, unfortunately. Ozzy said, "Patterson's comments indicate Slots lost the dressing room." Ozzy, it does, but it's just one perspective, isn't it? And I know players like Salah, Jones have been quite vocal this season, but the people that hold the panel or hold the cards, they're not seeing it that way because they haven't responded or they haven't taken any action. So that's the frustrating part because a lot of us fans see it. And look, there's a lot of Liverpool fans that are fully on board with Arne Slot. So you've got two sides of the coin. But I, I, I've had enough, to be quite honest with you. I don't think he's the man to take this club forward, and I'm really hoping that a change is made very, very soon. As I say, it's the fact. No, yeah, I do agree with that. Boss says, yeah, and some are still slotting, like Redmen TV. I haven't really watched much Redmen TV in recent times, so I don't really know their perspective, but they're slotting. That's their opinion. They're entitled to have that opinion. I just don't see that viewpoint at all. I'm quite lost with people that think that this is good enough because for me, it really isn't. Ozan says Ozzy was struggling to stay awake in the first half. Shout out to you, Ozan. You was watching the match with me in the watch along. I was struggling. I think I was struggling from like the 24th minute, and my eyes were just shutting. It was such a ball fest. And I kid you not, I had to lie down during halftime, have a little snooze or power nap, even though I couldn't really fully go to sleep because I just felt like I needed to be awake for the second half, and I'd made it just about. Um, but yeah, it was a difficult one to say the least. Bo says, "Remember Lanana 5-4 against Norwich?" Ozzy, yeah, that was a great game. That was a game full of action. We were all over the place defensively, but we were relentless with our attack. So yeah, one of the games that really stands out for me when it comes to Ian Klopp's regime. That's one of the first ones I feel like, we're in for a ride with this coach. So yeah, good times. Both Edwards are so egotistical, don't want to sack his appointment. That could be a point there, to be fair. And this is why I feel like he won't be dismissed now. It will be at the end of the season because it would look very foolish of him to appoint someone, win the league title, and then sack him 6 months later in the next season. So that doesn't really make sense on paper. Of course, as football fans, we know that these things can happen. This is a new season. We can't just reflect on last season and hold out for dear life. If this season hits completely the opposite of what we expected, then there are consequences to that. So you may have a point there actually. Hopefully, he's not so egotistical because if he cares about his job, he needs to do what's best for Liverpool, and that is get another manager through the door, in my opinion. But also, Ozzy, but do you see Slot being more stressed in press conferences now? Because I can actually see it in him. I can see. I think the last one that he did for this Fulham game, actually, he looks very stressed. He couldn't answer the first couple of stress questions. He had to ask. Well, the first one was a very simple question. Was in terms of, where do you think his team is at this midpoint of the season? And he's just scratching his head. And he's like, "That's a tough question to answer." And then the guy had to repeat again. You just felt like he was stressed. He wasn't very open with his answers. His answers sounded deluded to me as well. So when someone is under pressure, they come up with these type of answers where it feels like that it feels like they know what they're doing, but they don't, in my opinion. So I hear you. I do think he looks a little bit more stressed out now. Whether that's communication from above or that's just him feeling the heat in the hot seat right now, I'm not too sure. Also, do you think he knows the fans want him out and the pressure's on? Possibly. There has been a couple of games where the fans have definitely voiced their frustrations at the coach. So he'll be aware, even though he's not on social media, and you don't need to be on social media to know that. But I would assume he has some sort of inkling that the fans are split right now, but not all slot out. There are still a lot of fans that are slot in. which is, if that's your opinion, that's yours. But for me, I've not been happy with the way he's managed the team, and I don't like the environment that he's created within the squad because I don't feel like there's a togetherness. There's a lot of players that have been mistreated from the likes of Rio and Gomorrah, who's a young player. Yes, I get it, but if you've brought him in the first team squad, he's an equal. He should be given an equal opportunity to play games. The only time he's brought on is when we need a match winner, and that's not fair on a young kid. So players like Rio, Chiesa, you know, God knows what he has on the slot because never gets an opportunity to play. Last week was a rare start for him, which we were all, I'm sure, very surprised occurred. So yeah, it's not looking good. Um, but yeah, let's see what happens. It's very difficult to predict what's going to happen on the slot. But also, if I hear the fans sing his name after a 1-0 win over Karabag, yeah, fans are entitled to sing what they want, but I hear you. I wouldn't be too pleased about that. Also, would you blame Rio for wanting out in the summer? Uh, I would be surprised if he would want to leave the club. Of course, he's just signed a professional contract with us, so he's on a long-term contract with us, and therefore we would be able to command a transfer fee for him. I would be surprised, to be fair, but if Arne Slot is the manager next season and he wants to move on or he wants to go on loan, I don't blame him in that regards. What I would say is that he needs to assess his options and see who the coach is, because I'm sure whoever comes in will have some faith in the player or at least give him some opportunities to be part of the first team. So no, I wouldn't blame him. But at the same time, I feel like he needs to be a bit more sensible, and not just leave because he's not getting game time. He's only 17 years of age. He doesn't really have a right to demand to be a first team player, in my opinion. Doesn't matter how talented you are, you have to earn your stripes when it comes to the professional game. So if that is his attitude and mentality that he wants to leave, then I would have to question his attitude as well at the same time. So let's move on and do the player ratings. So let's start with Allison now. Allison didn't have much to do today, to be honest with you. The shot that he parried away from Harry Wilson felt very lucky, especially when as I looked at it quite a few times before I started the show, because the shot came and he just literally just hoofed it over, and that could have gone anywhere. That could have actually gone inside the back of the net. So he got lucky with that as it hit the crossbar. In terms of the goals, I think it was a powerful shot with the first goal from Harry Wilson, and then the second goal was a worldie of a strike. No goalkeeper would have saved that, unfortunately. Um, so no, I can't really blame him for that one. So in regards to his score, I'm going to give him 7 out of 10. Now, in terms of Conor Bradley, I was a little bit disappointed with his performance today. I feel like defensively he wasn't great. I feel like he didn't contribute from an attacking point of view. And to summarize, I think he was ineffective today. Of course, he provided the assist to Florian Wirtz to get the first goal for Liverpool. But other than that, I don't think he contributed that much. So in terms of his rating, I'm giving him a 4, and that's me being respectable there because I don't think he had a good game today. Konate, another shocking game from the French defender. All over the place, from one-on-one duels, from passing, distribution, made a good couple blocks here and there. But he looked like he was all over the place today. So I was not impressed with his performance and did not give me any confidence whenever he was near the ball. So for today, and he gets a 3 out of 10, which I think is me being quite nice to him, to be honest with you. And Van Dijk, probably the same. I don't think he had a good game as well. I think there was moments where he was slow to react. The first goal, he was the one that kept Harry Wilson on side. And I feel that that could appear as quite harsh, but all the other defenders were forward and he was the last man. And as captain, as the leader of the defense, it was his responsibility to move up along the rest of the players. So I wasn't impressed with his performance today. So he gets a 4 out of 10. And Herkes was a bit off today as well. Last 2 3 weeks, he's actually performed a lot better. He's improved a lot better, in my opinion. But in terms of today, his crossing was really bad, and that's normally one of his plus points. He's very good with his distribution. Today, he couldn't find anyone with his crosses, so that was really, really poor from his part. Um, so therefore, I can't give him a very high rating. So he gets a 4 out of 10 for me. Gravenberch had a decent game. I don't feel like he was heavily involved in our build-up. Um, don't remember him making too many interceptions. I feel like he had pretty much an average game today. So I'll give him a 5 out of 10. Moving on to Curtis Jones. I thought Curtis Jones was the better out of the two, more progressive with his distribution, almost provided assist for Gakpo in the first half. Um, and then later in the game, he ended up playing left wing and did a decent job. So I feel like he had a strong game today. Not his best performance, but then again, who had a great game like that? So for Jones, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Um, so Bosley was decent. I don't think he was as effective as he has been in recent weeks. I feel like he kept things neat and tidy, but didn't really impact the game like he has done in recent weeks and probably throughout the season. So for me, he had a solid game, but nothing more than that, to be honest. So for me, Szoboszlai gets a 6 out of 10. McAllister was slightly better today, slightly, only just. And in terms of his performance today, ended up occupying a lot more of a deeper role at times when Gravenberch would be a bit more further up, and then Jones would either be on the left hand side or he would interchange with Gravenberch. So positionally, he was number 6 at times and number 8 at times as well. Passing, produced a few knee passes here and there. Almost scored with a header that hit the crossbar. So better performance from McAllister, but not by a huge margin. So I'll give McAllister a 5 out of 10 today. Florian Wirtz was the only bright spark in this Liverpool team, in my opinion. Now, he didn't have the best of games from his standards, but you saw a player there that was trying to make things happen, trying to create opportunities for his teammates, and in the end got a goal for himself as well. But a lot of the players weren't on the same wavelength as him, so that affected his way of playing. So in terms of his uh, rating, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Um, Gakpo was a bit hit and miss. There were times where I felt like he found himself in good positions, but then at the same time, I feel like he was ineffective as well, where didn't really use his physical presence to the opponents. Um, didn't really link up play with players around him. Whenever he got the ball, he was just trying to be a bit more direct. So he needs to be a bit more a team player. I feel like he's become very predictable, very one-dimensional, and he just needs to add a bit more variation in his game, which he hasn't done so far this season. So in terms of his rating, despite getting a goal, he doesn't get a very high rating for me. He gets a 5 out of 10 as well. So that is my rating for the first team. I'm just gonna go through the comments and then I'll present the rating for the three substitutes that also came on in the second half. Ozan asks, why did nobody close down Reed though? I have no idea. I think they just thought, let's just all defend the box and that should do the job. The process, the way of playing doesn't change at any scoreline. You should be marking man for man. You should be in that kind of positional sense, not everyone clustered in one box. That's not how it works. And he had acres of space. He could have had a 5 touches and then shot. That's how much space he had. So for him to produce a worldie, of course, it looks great. But when you're looking at the way we defended, there was literally no way near him whatsoever. And that's what was really shocking about that goal. This is Bowles rating, so he's given Ali a 5, Bradley a 6, Ibu 4, Virgil 5, Kirkes 3, Graf 4, Jones 5, Sabozlai 5, Verts 5, Maka 4, and Gakpo 4. And Ozan comments to say he had enough time to make a cheeseburger and fries before he took that shot. He could have made a 5 course meal at that point. He had all the time in the world. So yeah, not a good look in terms of how he defended. Pretty much schoolboy defending in my eyes. So yeah, so that is my player ratings, and that is the end of the show. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming shows, nothing scheduled for tomorrow, but you know how it goes with the transfer window open, things may change. So we might do a transfer show. What I can tell you on top of my head, we'll do a match preview on Wednesday of the game versus Arsenal. So Arsenal versus Liverpool, and then we'll do the watch along on Thursday with the match reaction show later in the evening. So yeah, one to look forward to, although I'm not looking forward to that game because I don't feel like we'll get a result. But we'll have to be there and see what happens. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.